We are two male dietitians on a mission to improve your condition. It is our ambition to promote the importance of nutrition. We love food, we love to cook. We're just two dudes, come take a look. We are Andy and Joel, two dietitians with a whole lot of soul.
Hey guys, Andy here, and Joel's with me on the other end. Welcome to another episode of Dudes Talk Nutrition. So today we are going to hit on things that we encounter in our practice and our professional life that kind of drive us crazy. So whether it's fad diets or things that our clients think that really aren't in their best interest, but they've heard it somewhere. So let's just jump right into it, Joel. Why don't you kind of hit me with something that you encounter in your practice that kind of makes you go bonkers, so to speak?
It's funny. Yeah, bonkers. Let's roll with bonkers. It's funny. I think I've heard it all. I mean, I think I've heard it. Everything from carbs will make me fat, and avoiding all sugars and all fruits and fructose. And I've once heard that carrots cause cellulite. Not quite sure about that one. I haven't read a peer-reviewed article that actually says that carrots cause cellulite, but sometimes you just got to roll with it, don't you?
Right. And yeah, sugar for me is a big one. In my practice, I have people come in and they'll never explicitly say it, but I'm looking over their diet and it's always fruit. Fruit, I find, is very frequently omitted.
Yeah.
And you can kind of tell, and as soon as you see the trends developing and you say, well, it looks to me like the fruits are often low, the whole grains are low, and they won't come out and say it if you ask them if they're restricting anything. But then as soon as you see that and you cue them, it's like, oh yeah, I'm cutting my carbs back, trying to watch myself. So I'm not sure how often you get that, but that is pretty common in my practice, and I always get on that.
Yeah, it's funny. It's pretty big over here. Certainly the paleo movement, the low carb, high fat movement over here, and I think sugar. We've got a lady here who promotes a no sugar diet. Yet she promotes various varieties of non-fructose containing sugar syrups. So not quite sure about that one, but obviously mindful. Don't want to say too much.
Right.
But yeah, it's fascinating. I mean, I think that people lose sight of the big picture. I mean, it's always like we've got to vilify or we've got to blame one particular nutrient for all our health problems. People don't sort of see it as the quality, but it's amazing. I mean, people sort of I don't know, maybe there's this shift or there's this mindset that, it's one thing to blame, or if I cut one thing out, then I'm going to improve my health, or I'm going to include one thing in my diet which is going to improve my health. I mean,
right.
It's amazing and it's fascinating, and I think, wow, so many people have so many issues with food.
Right.
I'm sure it's something that you see a hell of a lot in your private practice too.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, there's definitely, a lot of omissions. One thing that I also see a lot, because we're on the topic now of kind of pet peeves, so to speak, one movement that I don't love, and I'm going to get probably some negativity for this, is I don't love the whole smoothies and blending the food movement and the juicing movement. That is really becoming huge, okay?
So you're telling me you don't juice cleanse, Andy?
I don't juice cleanse. I do not juice cleanse. I don't support juice cleansing. I wrote an article on it if you guys want to read about it. But I got more to say on this. But you tell me first how you feel about smoothies and juicing, and then I'll tell you how I feel.
Look, I don't mind it. I just don't understand this whole idea of, it goes to detox, I guess. That a juice can detox you of all the toxins. Yet we've got two kidneys and a liver that'll do the job for us. Yeah, I don't mind the smoothie. I think I'm a big believer that all foods can form part of a healthy diet, and I think a smoothie can certainly form part of a healthy diet. But adding things like spirulina, and I know you're a big fan of kale, but sorry to put kale in this category, but kale smoothies and spinach smoothies and whatever else. I mean, I think smoothies can be a really quick, convenient breakfast, but to think that it's going to be this magic elixir, I think is a little bit misguided.
Yeah. Well, let me give you my take on
I'm keen to hear your thoughts. Go on.
Yeah,
Have a rant.
The woman who trained me, who I really admire, she was very anti-smoothie, and I probably get it from her. And I think the notion is that, a lot of people I encounter, whether it's family, clients, they think that, they're going to bypass the whole process of chewing, of digestion. And, if you have to go ahead and have an apple, a banana, a glass of milk, that's going to take 15, 20 minutes to eat, to chew, to prime your digestive system to absorb the nutrients. It's going to make you feel full. It's going to make you satiated. When you throw that in a smoothie, that's in 30, 60 seconds. So you're getting probably way more calories than you would eat if you actually ate the foods whole. You're not getting that feeling of satiety. So, in the context of most people eating too many calories, that's a concern. However, I agree with your point. I don't want to completely vilify it, because if you are someone who just can't get them in any other way, that's the one condition where I say, okay, you know what? Smoothies are okay, but otherwise, I'm just not a fan, and I never will be. And I know people on Instagram love smoothies, and it's just I can't help it. That's just how I feel about it.
Yeah,
So
it's funny because you talk about satiety, and I think that's one of my favorite comments to make to patients is, eat your fruit, don't drink it. And it goes, what you're talking about, smoothies. But it's funny because I think smoothies, can be a really good breakfast option for a lot of people. And I think if you're adding things like milk, a bit of Greek yogurt, maybe a handful of oats and some berries, it's perfectly acceptable, especially when people are running out the door. And it's better than half the other things that they could be buying. Sausage and egg McMuffins and thick shakes and, large orange juices and things like that. I think at least you're ticking some boxes there, obviously getting some protein, some long-standing carbohydrates, getting some calcium into, getting your fruit, getting some fiber. So, yeah, certainly maybe not as against it as you are. I still think it can form part of a healthy diet. But I think this whole idea that you can have smoothies all day and that's going to, I think that's probably what you're getting
vegetables, a smoothie a day, right? Like, smoothie a day keeps a doctor away. That's no.
Don't you love that? Like, what's going to make me healthier? What's going to make me lose weight? And I think people lose sight of getting the diet quality right. It's not one thing. It's not some South American herb or some tonic from a bottle. It's about the quality. And once again, I'm going to refer to your T-shirt. People don't eat enough vegetables. And yeah, you can buy all these antioxidant powders and whatever else that claim to be from veggies, but just eat them, for goodness sakes.
And not to mention, from economical perspective, you have these like luxury juice bars opening up, $9 for 500 milliliters. You could buy bags upon bags of kale and greens, and the health benefit you can't even compare.
Andy, I think we're in the wrong profession, man.
Pardon me?
I think we're in the wrong profession. I think we should open up a juice bar. Clearly.
Yeah,
what would the profit margin be like?
Oh yeah, financially, but we're here to help the people, eh?
Yeah, apparently so. Some would suggest
topic of things that bother us, I think we kind of, beforehand, we said that we were going to tackle the paleo diet today. So again, I have my views on that, but I'm going to let you go first, and then we'll kind of get heated.
Yeah, it's funny. Look, I think I like to reflect on the positives, and I think there are actually a lot of positives about the paleo diet, and we're talking about low processed or no processed foods, or predominantly no processed, and I think lots of veggies, lean meats, eggs, those types of things. But I think where it falls down is, the exclusions. And I think excluding whole food groups and obviously whole grains. I know you've just written an article about carbohydrates, and obviously whole grains are rich in carbohydrates and fiber. And I think fiber is my favorite nutrient to talk about because it can help with reducing blood sugars. It can help with reducing cholesterol. It can help keep you full, and it's fantastic for gut health. So I think excluding those things is certainly the wrong way of going about it. And also excluding dairy, and I know we've spoken offline before about dairy and how we both love dairy, and I often make the joke that I should work for Dairy Australia, and funnily enough, I actually met a girl from Dairy Australia the other day, and I did give myself a little bit of a plug. Fingers crossed they give me a job, or at least put me on their payroll. Hey.
Drinking milk during the videos.
Yeah, and I know coconut oil.
Some milk.
It's paleo. They're big on coconut oil, and I just don't understand the benefits of coconut oil. I don't see the appeal.
Right.
But yeah, look, I think all these fad diets. They tell you what not to eat. I think we should focus on what to eat. And at the end of the day, as I said before, I'm a firm believer that all foods can form part of a healthy diet, and I know that you sing from the same hymn book. I think it's about focusing on the better things to be eating more often than not. And as your T-shirt suggests, it's the veggies. And I know that 7% of Australians actually meet their veggie requirements. So why not start
Right.
with actually giving people the skills and the tools to increase their veggie intake? And what will likely happen, and what I find with most of my clients is that when they eat more veggies, when there's more of the veggies on the plate, they inherently eat less of the other things, and the other things are
Right.
going to contain the energy and the thing that's going to put, the weight on, or contribute to their diabetes, or contribute to their cholesterol and triglycerides. I mean, it's just I think we just need to get back to basics, and the basics really is including all 5 food groups.
Right. So
So
yeah. So
that's my
you've
little rant for the day.
that's positive. I'm not going to be quite as positive,
All
and
right,
I'll definitely concede about the paleo diet that it emphasizes fruits and vegetables and whole foods like nuts and seeds. That's a good thing. Okay, so that's positive. However, first thing I don't like about it is I feel the paleo diet is a little bit elitist. Okay, because they're talking grass-fed this. They're removing whole grains. Okay, and whole grains, that's an affordable source of calories and nutrients for most of the population. So to eat a paleo diet, that entails you have to have a lot of economic flexibility, because to buy foods that they're suggesting to eat, that's very expensive. Because if you're omitting grains and legumes, you have to replace those calories with something else. So what's that going to be? Nuts, seeds, and meat, which is, although they fit in your diet, that's expensive. And that's not
Absolutely.
realistic.
And it's not good for the environment either.
That's a
Surely.
whole other thing.
Yeah.
We've talked before about veganism and vegetarianism, and tofu and legumes don't fit into the true paleo diet,
Yeah.
right? So that's another thing that I don't like, and those foods are affordable sources of non-animal protein. One of the other issues I have is that the paleo diet is strongly associated with, I think, CrossFit and this fitness movement. But the irony is that carbohydrates and the paleo diet is a glorified low carb diet, as far as I'm concerned. But the problem is that for athletes, high carbohydrate
It's their
intake, is
fuel.
time and time again associated with peak performance. So when you have low carb, high fat associated with athletics, it gives people the wrong idea, and I don't like that. And that's my take on the paleo diet, quite frankly.
Yeah. I often
You
make
know?
the joke, I mean, good luck being a vegetarian or even a vegan on a paleo diet, and there's no way you could meet your nutrient requirement, especially when you're
Right.
cutting out, dairy and all those legumes.
It's not an option. Yeah, it's just not an option.
Absolutely not an option. I mean, you just reduce to most vegetables and I think a few fruits. I don't even know which fruits they limit, but
Yeah,
it's
don't
a
limit
little bit mind-boggling. And why would we want to live like our ancestors?
Yeah, I mean that's a whole other debate, right? I mean, how accurate are these accounts? These anthropological accounts. How do they skew them for their own benefit? Or for their own ideals? You know what I mean? So that's a whole other story. But you know what, mate? I think we covered that pretty well. We covered the sugar pretty well. Why don't we just end on a high today?
I think so. I mean, man, I reckon we could do like five episodes on fad diets. I mean, it's amazing, isn't it? But yeah, I agree. Let's wrap it up there.
And let's just say, if you guys have other ideas for us to talk about, please give us comments below. We want to talk about what you guys want to hear,
Exactly.
and we
want to make it relevant, and we certainly want to make it interesting. And if you've got, as Andy said, please let us know, because sometimes we scratch our heads and we think, well, geez, what are we going to talk about today? But you're lucky you've got a full head of hair, mate.
You're doing all right. You're doing all right.
Yeah. Once you hit 30, it all goes downhill. Let's leave it there, but let's please stay in touch, and feel free to provide comments as well. We want this to be a fantastic opportunity to educate and provide obviously a bit of humour, but inform you guys as well. So let's leave it there, Andy.
Cheers, mate.
I will see you soon,
Yep.
and cheers to another hopefully good episode.
Yes, sir.